Hello again, this is Douglas Lucky Larson on the Retire Early and Often channel, and today we are talking about the United States government spending billions and billions of dollars to further jack up home prices and rents. Seriously, would our government take a bad situation and make it worse? Of course, that's usually what they do. Now, let's take a look at a letter that was recently sent out to all real estate agents and brokers. It was by the NAR, National Association of Realtors, and basically justifying their yearly dues of about $1,000 that realtors and brokers have to pay to keep their license. Now, I'm an advocate of real estate for sure, but I'm always suspect of special interest groups and lobbyists that promote their agenda with a particular bias or spin while ignoring the downstream consequences. On the next screen, we will see this letter. Now, let's take a quick peek here. And again, this was sent out not too long ago. I am not a real estate agent or broker, but I have many friends and family members who are. Breaking news, it says. And here are the key points. All right, congressional leaders released a long-awaited framework Thursday for President Joe Biden's signature Build Back Better plan, blah, blah, blah. The $1.75 trillion framework, and I don't know if it's going to be 1.75 when it really gets passed. Supposedly less, but it depends on Joe Manchin and a bunch of other people. It'll probably be more because they always find a way to stick more pork in the barrel, right? Let's see. But the NAR has hard-fought priorities like investments in affordable housing and down payment assistance. Ooh. And it spares real estate and investment from the most feared taxes. We'll talk about some of those when we get over on the other page. NAR's advocacy operation is built for crossroads moments like this one. For the past year, we have educated lawmakers on the effects of misguided and harmful taxes on real estate and the need for affordable housing investment. Yes. Shannon McGann. So when they say educated lawmakers, you know what that really means, right? How lobbyists work? Yeah, it's whining and dining and promising and back scratching and promising campaign contributions in the future and things like that. It's inviting members of Congress and the Senate to special parties and golf clubs that are quite exclusive and lots of other things like that that aren't bribes in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, it's all about the back scratching. So, let's move over to the other side. I just love how they always frame things. Historical investment in affordable housing. Ooh, that sounds really good, actually. Historical. The framework includes a $150 billion investment in affordable housing, a key NAR priority and a focus of its advocacy efforts for the past year. Under the agreement, public housing and rental assistance would get funding boosts. Wow, they already have money, but they would get funding boosts. The plan would also create more than 1 million new affordable rental and single-family homes and invest in down payment assistance. So, yeah, more free money thrown at lots of different things. It always takes a long time for these things to really trickle down to where they can help people. But, yep, they're making good promises. The White House says the down payment assistance under the plan would allow hundreds of thousands of first-generation homebuyers to purchase their first home and build wealth. It's all for the greater good, don't you see? All right. I love this spin. As a nation, we have to find ways to close the supply shortfall. Doing so will be particularly meaningful for lower-income households, millennials, and households of color. See, we're so inclusive. Give us billions. Blah, 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 blah. This investment is critical for closing the racial home ownership gap and addressing income disparity. It opens up home ownership for the first generation, first-time buyers. Oh my goodness, just dripping with awesomeness. Let's see. I've checked out some of these things. I looked online and found the actual Housing Trust Fund and the HOME, the Home Program, down payment assistance, housing vouchers, and all these things just basically mean that they're throwing billions of taxpayer dollars at all these different causes. So again, they spin it and make it sound just so wonderful, but it's just more billions being paid now, borrowed from the future, because everybody has to pay that somehow. So welcome to taxation in the future. Well, look at some of the other things that they're bragging that they've done. Some of the earlier tax proposals floated would have devastated the real estate sector, which makes up nearly 1/5 of the entire economy. This framework has no 1031 like-kind exchange limits. Well, that's good. I agree with that one. No capital gains tax increases. I like that one too. No change in step-up basis. That's when property transfers, say, from a parent to a child or something like that, and you can step up to the new value and not have a taxation on the extra. So that can be a good thing too. My kids will like that. No tax on unrealized capital gains. Ooh, that was a big one. They were talking about starting up a brand new tax on unrealized capital gains. That means that, and it still might affect things like, let's say, if you have Bitcoin and you have not cashed out, they can still tax you on your gain. Can you imagine that? And if you've got a house that goes up in value, they can tax you on the gain, even though you haven't sold the dumb house. That is crazy. All right, so they're not doing that, it looks like. And of course, it was only going to affect households where people own millions of dollars in real estate. Yeah, well, tell that to the Americans who were promised back in 1914 that income tax was only going to affect the rich. Yeah, well, right. No increased estate tax, no carried interest provisions, blah, 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 blah. All right, we worked for more than a year to educate, there's that word again, educate lawmakers on the issues, blah, blah, blah. Again, backdoor deals, back scratching, campaign donations promised. Educate, yeah. So, love it, and not all of it is bad, but just so you know, the NAR is looking out for you if you're a real estate agent. What do we know about government intervention, and how do we know that it's likely to make things worse? Let's take a peek at the next slide here. This is government assistance regarding college funding and education over the last many years. So I love the fact that over the last 30 or 40 years, government-backed grants for billions of dollars, and certainly government loans to students. They were meant to make college more affordable. That's what they always tell you. It's to help people afford college. But here's a report from Education Data Initiative, and let's take a quick closer look at this. Report highlights. We're not going to go into this exhaustively, but the average cost of college tuition and fees at public four-year institutions has increased at an annual rate of 9% over the last 30 years. That's 9% per year over the last 20 years. Now, over the last, who knows how many years, it's gone up way more than that. Isn't that crazy? So, here we are. This is July of 2021. And they've been telling us that inflation is at about, 1 to 3% year over year for the last 20 years. But college education has gone up 9% per year on average. There's something wrong here. So let's take a look at this. Since 1990, the average tuition and fee rates have increased 130% after adjusting for inflation. So since 1990, a college education after inflation has gone up more than double. That's government assistance for you. we'll give you grants, we'll give you loans that you have to pay back, or we will hunt you down and kill you and your firstborn child. You cannot default on student loans. We're helping. But, college tuition and fees and everything have gone up more than double after inflation. Crazy. All right. So why would we suspect that government assistance and housing will only make things worse? Yeah, there's one good example. There's many more reasons to suspect that the government will not really help in the long run. But let's take a look at this final slide. So the NAR is basically telling all of us that not only do they want us to keep the status quo, the U.S. government policy to keep the status quo regarding real estate taxation and deductions, and that may be something that I'm in favor of, but they're also telling the politicians that, hey, as long as you guys are spending trillions, spend another 150 billion toward, more housing stuff. Now keep this in mind. $1 billion is 1,000 million. So 1,000 million times 150. And that's just a fraction of this big, 1.2, 1.5, $1.7 trillion bill. And that's only a part of what's been spent over the last 18 months, 2 years of the pandemic craziness. Crazy. Huge amounts. All right. So please spend that toward housing in the name of equity and diversity and inclusion and helping out the poor and the youngest buyers and renters. But really what's going to happen is going to jack up rents and prices even further. Guaranteed. Because that's what happens when the government throws money at things. Now, I always like to give my viewers information that they can actually maybe use. Not advice, but infotainment. So, what can we do with this information? Well, I made an offer yesterday to buy a 1.1 acre property with 3 rentable units on it and the opportunity to place 2 or 3 more ADUs, accessible dwelling units, on the property. Now, hopefully I can use them as short-term rentals as well. We're looking into zoning laws and things like that. But the full acre can also be subdivided into at least 2 parcels. So I think there's some good opportunities there. My offer was $700K, and I'll keep you posted. Also, I've needed to raise some rents on a couple properties where leases are expiring, and so my cash flow will be increasing in January by another few $100 a month. I've also advised my brother-in-law on some opportunities. He's just going through an early retirement change with some things. He's looking at either renting again or maybe buying something. So I'm trying to help him find a house that he can house hack or live in part of the house and rent out, say, the basement. That may help him pay more than half of his mortgage. And if he can lock in a 30-year fixed rate at under 3% and then rent out his basement and pay more than half his mortgage, hello, that could be an awesome thing. Another option for you might be to tap into some of this free money that the government's going to be giving out. Now, supposedly these dollars will be distributed mostly at the state and local level. So you got to look around in your area. Ask around with real estate agents and with lenders. They may know a little bit more about some of the actual channels to funnel some of that money maybe into your pocket. Now, I hate that money is being thrown around in various different ways without my direct permission because it's my taxpayer dollars. But, if it can help you and your family, take a look. Would any of these options work for you? Well, only you will know. Again, I can't give you advice, but it's certainly worth looking into in this crazy world that appears like it's only going to get even crazier. Please help us out. Give us a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and share this information, and we'll keep making more content. I hope to see you on the next video.